Hello, this is Vegapunk Shaka speaking on behalf of my good friend Seafood That Guy. I just wanted to give all of you fine people a friendly reminder that about 91% of watchers on the channel have not subscribed. So if you wouldn't mind taking the time, drop a like on the video, and of course, subscribe. And let's get straight into it.
Hey, listen!
Yo, so this week's chapter actually begins way out front. One Piece is actually on the cover of Shonen Jump, and we get a color spread dedicated to One Piece film red. Looks pretty cool. All right, let's get straight into the chapter. Getting into the chapter, we actually get some dialogue here from Zoro and Brook explaining why they were stayed back on the Sunny. And Zoro's actually thinking ahead here. He's saying that if something happens, then somebody has to be there to bail them out, and Brook absolutely agrees. But to everybody's surprise, Caribou actually shows up on the ship, and Zoro's kind of like, dude, you're still here? Yes, everybody, Caribou is still here, and he's roaming free. Like, nobody cares about Caribou anymore. He's just completely not even a threat to any of these Straw Hats. But apparently the agreement was for Caribou to essentially get lost at the first place the Straw Hats dock, and guess what? It happens to be Egghead Island. So Caribou's like, whoa. I understand that was the agreement, but this is a government island, dude. If I get off, I'm basically gonna get arrested. And Zoro's like, listen, we only helped you because you helped our captain, so it's time for you to kind of get lost, you know what I'm saying? And here Caribou's cracking on the inside because he knows that he's basically screwed. And this is actually kind of wild, because if any of the people from the government were to capture Caribou, the amount of information he has just on Poseidon and the information that he got in Wano alone is huge. So make sure we keep an eye out on Caribou. Remember, he is walking information. But from here, we actually cut to the other group where they're following Lilith into Vegapunk's lab, and they're just so amazed by Vegapunk's work. They're on the escalator. They never seen anything like this before. They actually follow Lilith until she phases through a door, and Frankie's like, yo, what the hell? Like, how'd you go through? And Lilith's like, no, it's okay. So they actually go through the door, and once they phase through the door actually is solid. So it is kind of weird. It's not really a hologram. It is a solid door, but they managed to phase through it. More Vegapunk mind-blowing technology, what can I say? But Frankie actually inquires about what energy source that Vegapunk uses to power Egghead Island, and Lilith explains that you can basically say the energy source is fire, and you can convert fire into any energy source. So at this point, Frankie's saying, wouldn't that burn through a lot of natural resources? And Lilith explains, yes, it does. And I'm always looking into other resources. And if there was such thing as, say, like an eternal flame, she'd actually be able to create their own sun. Vegapunk always thinking like way out. Anyway, they continue to walk until the entire group actually phases through the door to where they come across a young Seraphim Jinbei. This is Seraphim 4. And you could just tell by the dialogue that the crew did not know what they were about to get themselves into. So Frankie's like, yo, what are you doing here? Everybody's really surprised to see Jinbei, except Frankie notices, yeah, he looks a little bit different, and Robin's like, yo, I don't really think that's him. So they kind of go back and forth discussing who this imposter Jinbei actually is, until Jinbei gets up and fires a laser beam at the group. And that's when Frankie realizes, yo, this is a pacifista, and this is a bad move. So they actually all scatter, and from here, Nami's trying to figure out exactly what this clone of Jinbei is, and he goes on the attack towards Nami. Before Nami could hit him, he actually turns into some sort of liquid substance and re-solidifies. So Usopp's like, yo, he's got devil fruit powers, and Frankie mentions that he actually knows what ability this is. Now, I don't think this is water, obviously, for obvious reasons, but it could be, I don't know, maybe Caribou's mud power. And comment below, let me know what ability this is and how Frankie would have seen it before. But he re-solidifies in front of Nami, and he actually gets her in a choke hold, to where Sanji immediately steps in and kicks Jinbei right in the face. And Robin actually doubles down and attacks Jinbei as well, although this does absolutely nothing. So he actually goes in for the attack on Robin, and before he could do that, Usopp steps Edison and fires a lethal green star at him. But before it could hit him, he disperses and re-solidifies again and catches Usopp in a chokehold from behind. So Sanji decides that he's gonna step in again, but Frankie tells him, yo, step back, I got this. And Frankie actually fires a radical beam and hits him dead on. From here, in our next panel, we get a full reveal of what seems to be Vegapunk Edison, which is a robot. He kind of looks like Elekid from Pokemon, if you know what I'm talking about, with a plug on his head. But he's actually talking to Lilith, and we actually get dialogue from him explaining that this thing is basically a test, and this Seraphim Jinbei, he's just a kid. To which Lilith responds, you're damn right he's just a kid. I'm gonna rip Frankie's head off. So she's pissed about Frankie being so rough with the Seraphim Jinbei, and apparently the Seraphim Jinbeis, they cost a lot of money to make. To which Edison responds, that's a little bit too evil and that's a little bit going too far, which makes sense because Lilith is actually the evil one out of the group. And at that very moment, he has a moment of an idea and he actually thinks of a new invention. I love that Oda is giving us the different personalities of each different Vegapunk. Of course, Edison being the inventor, so he would come up with an invention idea on the spot, and Lilith being the evil one. But he actually leaves the rest of the test in the hands of another Vegapunk Pythagoras, the wisdom Vegapunk. And whatever battle data Edison left with Pythagoras, of course, he understands it right away because he's wise. So of course, comment down below, let me know what you think that Edison is going to make for Frankie. Literally, he left right away to draw up blueprints for whatever invention he's making for Frankie, and what the battle data is that Pythagoras is going over. And we actually just get a bunch of panels of all the Vegapunks doing various different tasks. We get her proper introduction. She's actually Dr. Vegapunk York, and she's the Desire Vegapunk, which is why she's eating and she's sleeping and she's doing everything that she desires to do. We also get a proper introduction of Dr. Vegapunk Shaka. He is number one and he's the logic Vegapunk. So everything that he does will be logistical and calculated. He's also the one that we saw talking to Dragon in the last chapter. So Shaka actually introduces himself to the Straw Hats. He's like, yeah, you must be the Straw Hats, right? To which Sanji replies, yeah, that's us. But apparently Sanji's shoes stop moving, and this is where Shaka reveals that, yeah, your shoes, I can basically disable them and re-enable them at will through magnets. So Robin comes to the conclusion that resistance is futile. They can't escape as long as they have these shoes on, which is why Vegapunk put them in these trash behind outfits to begin with. So Shaka asks Frankie, he says, does this island look like the future? Of course, Frankie responds, yes, of course this looks like the future. This looks like it's beyond the future. And we get a small panel here of Luffy and Chopper, and they come across what Luffy says to be a giant metal thing, but Jinbei says it's kind of weird for something so ancient looking to be made out of technology like this. We cut back to Shaka speaking to Frankie. He says, this is actually an island of the past. And Frankie's like, well, what do you mean? And Shaka responds and he says that long ago, there was a highly advanced kingdom, a civilization from 900 years ago that had technology not that different from Egghead. And we end with a panel of what Luffy and Jinbei Chopper seem to find a giant mech, and it's a real mech. So this was a shorter chapter. It's still chocked full of information, and it's Oda basically just expanding on the world that is Egghead Island and just giving us the mind-blowing inventions of Dr. Vegapunk. Of course, we got all the Vegapunks in interaction with each other, so that was pretty cool. Wasn't super action-packed. Of course, we got a little scuffle with Seraphim Jinbei, which is always cool. But let me know what you think. We're getting hints on the Void Century, guys. So, yo, we know something big is right around the corner. And of course, we didn't see what the conclusion was between Blackbeard and Law. Sorry, Law fans, but you know, it's not looking too good for Law right now. But let me know what you think below. Always, guys, make sure you drop a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I will
catch you guys next time. Peace.